In this video, I'm going to show you how to build your adventure game for the Commodore 64. I made a lot of improvements to streamline this once I got a message that some people in the Toronto Pet Users group were looking at this, and I was like, oh, I better go make that Commodore stuff work because they think it does. For your adventure game, if you want to export it to Commodore 64, you have the option of putting a title screen on there. And how you make that title screen is up to you. There are a lot of different paint tools. The only stipulation is that it needs to be a bitmap file. Now keep in mind, like the Commodore graphics are broken up into 8 by 8 pixel blocks, and within each block you can only have 2 colors. So you can't just take any bitmap and slam it in here. I highly recommend filtering this thing through a Commodore 64 specific graphic utility first, so you know what it looks like. I mean, here's one, for example, mcdraw.xyz. It's an online graphic editor for the Commodore 64. So that would work fine, and then you could download your image. You could save the thing as a PNG and then convert it to a bitmap. But the key thing is that Commodore, like many other early computers, kind of tries to conserve memory by having 8 by 8 pixel groups on the screen, and within each 8 by 8 pixel block, there's a foreground color and a background color. And Sinclair does the same thing. So once you pick a file here, let's just go show you what that looks like. Here's just like I threw this together. See, it'll actually give you a little preview of it. Now, I did not use a Commodore 64 paint tool for this, or I sort of started to, but you're seeing what you're seeing here with these black squares. That's attribute clash, because I'm not really trying to make this pretty. This is more just proof of concept. So, and then if you close that, now you can build it. And all you have to do is come up here and say build Commodore 64. Now, the process of taking that bitmap and converting it out to a source file that then gets assembled can take a while, so it might look like the program has died. I assure you it has not, so just let it run. And of course I'm always running in the debugger. Oh, and here we go. So export complete pyramid.d64 written to, and then it puts your project in a subdirectory under your Lantern folder. So let's go look in there and just make sure everything looks cool. So ls-lrt, and we can see that there's pyramid.d64. That's the one that we're interested in. And because this thing writes out D64 files. One very important thing I should have mentioned, for that to work, if you go to external tools, you need to set the path to C1541.exe, because that's the tool that's going to attach all the output files to the floppy disk image. And then just to prove to you that this works, let me pull up the Commodore emulator here. And let me go open that disk, attach disk 8, pyramid.d64, there it is. And I know there's some trick to auto start stuff, but I don't know what it is, so I guess I have some homework to do. Load pyramid.prg, comma 8, enter, and then I'll pause this thing. All right, there it is. That took a few seconds to load, but you didn't have to sit through all that. Now if I type run, what it's going to do is load that title screen. There we go. And it's just waiting to hit this for the space bar, and then when I hit the space bar, then it's going to load the actual game into memory, and then jump to that code and execute it. And just to prove to you that that works, I'll hit the space bar here, and then pause the recording so you don't have to wait for the disk drive to spin. So it's space bar, and there it is, it's running, yay. All right, let me click on this, look, yay, inventory, cool. So seems to be working. And then also, where did this horrible color scheme come from? If you go back to the welcome screen under Spectrum, no, it's not Spectrum, C64 options, you can pick the different color scheme, and the game will suck that up. So there you go. There's Commodore 64 Export, vastly improved. Just be patient as it tries to convert your bitmap file to a assembly language source code file. Unless your image, it only has to do that once. Once your image file unless you change your image file, it will detect. It will look at the timestamp on the file, and it won't do it if it doesn't need to. And then also just remember that you need to set the path to C1541. And that's it, and you should be okay. And I assure you, if you're watching this, you know way more about Commodore stuff than I do, and if I'm doing something wrong or I need to do something better, please just let me know. I'll be happy to improve this stuff. Also, it is worth noting that the games can only fit until you only have about 38K to fit your game into, which isn't huge because there's no virtual machine thing going, but I am kind of looking into that. So there it is. It works. You saw it. If you need help getting your Commodore 64 game going, just email me. I'll be happy to help you. I've gotten a lot of people. Spectrum seems to be big, but I'd love to get some Commodore guys writing games. And if you need any help getting your game out the door, just email me. I'll be happy to help you in any way I can.